Okay, so for your case, you're using token, then you have a table to store all the tokens. Yeah. Mm. Token plus ID. Okay. Use a token ID to authenticate, right? Request. Right. Okay. So let's start with something. So we have approximately until Chinese New Year week, which is, and then after that exam. Okay, so very rush, right? Okay, so I'll give a bit of the itinerary from now until exam. Test is on this week, right? 4th of February. That's the week for the test, or is that the interview week? Interview week, right? Which is the 11th February, that week is the test. The 4th that week is interview week for your 7-2. Okay, so counting backwards, 1, 2, 3. 3 weeks, or rather, because 29th I'm not around. Today's lesson is for 29th, so that week you all will not hear from me. So do whatever you like. Okay, so right now my key objective is to try to decrease the amount of CA2 work so that you have not so much a minimal but a good enough product, okay, for CA2, which you can also use to connect to your CA2 Android app. Up to you. Or you can continue Firebase as the reason as you are. Okay. The other part of the next 3 weeks is there'll be one session whereby most likely, if it's not the interview week, because interview week likely you'll spend all the time just going through CA2 interview. We need to go through some test questions, past year question. Yeah, and cheat sheet. Tips. I have so officially I call this a cheat sheet. Of course, you cannot print a cheat sheet into your test room on the day, but it's a cheat sheet for you developers working on REST. So it's key things you need to know, that you must know, and things most likely will be asked somehow or other. Okay, so there'll be one session on past exam question and cheat sheet. The rest will be purely do as much as you can on CA2 questions. We raise it up and clear up. That means we have today, tomorrow, and 21st, right? Also 22nd. Yeah, for all your questions on your code and why it doesn't work, and maybe is there a better way to get around it. I think is if you meet an obstacle in your code, don't spend too much time trying to solve it, especially if you decide if it's a critical thing or not. Sometimes the obstacle is very stupid, so you may waste a lot of time just trying to solve a very simple thing. So move on to the next item, and maybe collect your questions on the 22nd, right? We go through, right? It's got like a clinic lah, problem, okay? We solve it. We show everybody, oh, I got this problem here. Maybe someone else has the same problem, then share the information. Okay, so now for me to decrease the CA2 scope, is this. So currently, if you go to Polymore, and then you look at the latest code sample, so the latest code sample built up is based on authentication. I think last week was on authentication, so we skip a bit here and there. Okay. So MenuAPI we base it off and user table. This was the very last version we did on the topic 8. So we actually skip forward to topic 9, Java and database. Then we went backwards to topic 8 where we covered authentication. And there's a user table you actually authenticate with. Okay, so what we have in the sample code is, it looks like this. So I have my application, my basic authentication Java class, which is the filter. This is for basic authentication. There's a main MenuAPI application. There's a feature for converting JSON, passing JSON to objects. Okay, so that's in my app namespace. Next namespace of package data store. So among all this, you have category store, which actually is a working category table. Category store, you can get category list from there, from the actual category table in MySQL. Okay, so this replaces technically what we used to start off with the data mock. Data mock Java is the version where the data is only existing when you start the server and it will disappear when you turn it off. The data store is where you actually save into the physical MySQL table. Okay. You also have a data access Java, which is actually where your connection string is. So in order to connect to database, typically you have some Java class that will turn out connections. So instead of having this connection happen in every other class that actually need to connect to the database, we refactor out into this data access Java. Now here is not a good example of me putting connection string with the username password in here. Typically it should be a XML file, a web config file that's saved out somewhere in your web content under the web INF. Somewhere here is possible you can store the username password there. Yeah, but to make it simple, I just hardcode it here first. So now the other data store you have inside the data store package is this user store. So we have now two tables. One is the category table and the other is a user table. The user table is where your user on the app wants to sign up, you insert a row here, and subsequently when user log in, you check here, you see whether the user is a valid user in your app. Okay, then after you can decide you want to return a token to authenticate for further requests, or you want to user to the app to always pass username password here to check. Okay, so the authentication strategy is up to you from that point onwards. Now for today, I will modify this table a little bit to based on what Vincent has, I think, designed some schema for you all, right, in Firebase. It's a login user table, right, or something. So I think I might modify a little bit based on that. I think the key thing is here username password. That's most important. Okay, so this is the user store. So now in our app, we have two tables, category and users. Our main meat, which is the food items, need to be there. And then next thing followed by the orders. Okay, so if you open up the next namespace models, these are our typical models. And so if it's very likely that every table you have at least one model class that support it. I have a category store, category table, then therefore I have a category model. I have a user table, then I have a user model Java here. Oh, if you lost the Project Explorer, right? Okay. You go to Window, Show View, Project Explorer. Yeah. In case you lose this one. Or wrong mode. Okay. On the mode, the top right hand side, there's an open perspective. There's a Java EE perspective. This icon, this two yellow, one red square. Yeah. So okay. So the user model and category model are supporting model classes for each table. So if every time you think about this, you think about it as if I have one table, at least I have one model class, at least. Okay. The rest of the classes here are to support the REST API that return data like list of category with links. So this is part of etios or maybe pagination that we can implement. Resources will always be where your actual web service is. So this is a layer where I have a category resource. I might have a photo resource, but in here case I would have probably a user resource. So the user resource would be doing a few things. Registration of a user, logging in for now. Simple. We don't need to forget password yet. If you want to forget password, you can add on if you got more time. Because forget password, we need one more feature, which is sending emails or sending SMSs. Not yet, huh? Okay. So now we focus on that part. So we can actually, today we can complete the user resources. So an endpoint to actually create user, register user, and login. So take note that I'll move away from having any admin use admin functions right now, because we don't want to duplicate so many web services. I mean, we're doing all this, you already have the basic web services required, so we don't need to duplicate into admin functions. Okay. Resources can also have your API versioning by creating a namespace for it, a v2. So a v2, v3, v4, or 2 point something may be a way of using namespace to separate different versions of the same thing. Like a category resource can have a second version here under the v2 namespace, and so on and so forth. So this allows you to maintain two of the same classes, two different versions of the same web service together, and then eventually allow you to duplicate one of them when it's out of date. Why do we do this? Is because not everyone would be updated to the latest Java or latest Android app when you update your app. Some people don't download, they don't go to Play Store, etc. So it's very different from websites whereby you update a website, everyone who views it gets the latest thing. So this is one of the consideration. It's also key in your CA2 to have API versioning because it's also kind of marked. So if you include this, you score points, some points. Okay, so after going through the project structure, what will we do today? Or rather, how much time we have left? So, to do, okay, first we will create a user's resource. It will allow me to do a few things. So, if I want to let users register, well, there are a few ways to do this. I can simply do a post to users. Okay, some people would like it to be quite explicit by saying post users register. Okay, now the reason why I do this version and this version is because if I'm thinking of the same resource used for some other functions where it's basic CRUD, then I probably won't touch this because it's maybe used by another app or another application. Then this is more like the Android app where users got registration. So I kind of separate the two. The other reason why I might separate these two things, although they mean almost the same thing, is add user in, is the data that goes in might be different. It could also be the who enters the data would be different. This might be a more admin role kind of use case, and then this will be a more public facing kind of use case. So I won't question if you're going to use this or this. Doesn't matter now. So either one will work. So your user resource needs to have one of these features, and the other one will be, of course, authentication. So your Android app, when the user key in their login and password, you need to authenticate. Now, to authenticate, typically we send a post request to users, and you could add on to the path by putting this thing off. So the off will allow you, will kind of tell you that this endpoint is for authentication. Now, why did I use a post and not a get? So, very simple reason. Whenever you do a get request on anything in your web service or website, it will be locked down. Entire URL will be saved in a log file on the server somewhere. If you use Apache, IIS, or any server. Now, if you use a GET request with a lot of parameters, so you know a GET request, you cannot send data in the request body. Everything comes in one long string. So what happens is that you probably look like this: user equals to me, and password is. So you're kind of like telling the whole, you're not telling the whole world, but at least tell the server admin what your password is if you do this. So this is why we avoid using a GET request when you authenticate somebody, because you want to avoid sending very sensitive information in the URL itself. Okay? It parameter string or half parameters like this, or query parameters. So we avoid doing this kind of stuff. So to avoid doing this but still send the data in, what do? We do a post users to this off. Okay, so when you do a post, you need to send the username and password either as a JSON object or form data. Okay, so today we will do this user resource web service that has these two functions. Now, because we will be adding these two functions under the post users, therefore it means in our database, our user store.java, we need to have a create user method and a authenticate user method. I think the number 2 method might have a bit of it written somewhere already, because we last session we do authentication, so that cuts down a bit of work. So this will help you achieve the part of creating the user functions for Android app to register and log in. So I'm going to run down what are the things leading to your finished product CA2. Next thing, which is the main meat, which will be food. Okay, so what is food or food store or food resource? So food resource is basically what you see when you go to grab food, and they show you a list of things you can choose. And simply put as Get foods will give you a list paginated, or you do infinity scrolling, whichever. But basically, it's a list of food items available. Okay, so this is one of the endpoints. You can also get food by ID, one specific item, which will already show you the price and certain information, pictures, and all that. So we try to be as simple about this part as possible. So your Android will have a ability to scroll through a list. For one item, you see the details. Okay. Category will skip this part out. Next part is your CRUD, create, retrieve, or delete. So when you go to GrabFood, you can choose into a cart, and then you check out or pay. So this card will have a create, update, retrieve, delete function. So you call this order. So what order resource? I call this order resource, and it can allow me to do a few things. First of all, I want to create an order, right? There will be a post to create a new order, and I can subsequently update an order, which is to do a put order, for the ID. Now, if I want to retrieve my order, I can always go back and retrieve order by ID. And if I do not want my order anymore, I can do a delete order by ID. So in essence, you have your simple create, retrieve, update, delete for your order resource. Okay. So based on the CA2, the basic requirements are to have at least the 4 post, put, get, delete methods implemented. To have a pagination method, which is implemented here, get foods, will be pagination. So among all these methods, other than users and this one, right? Between food resource and order resource, one of them will need to be secured, and one of them is public. So without logging into the app or having user information, the food resource will be public. You don't need any security. In order for you to add an order, update or delete an order, so you don't know update, delete someone else's order, this will require authentication. The order resource will be authenticated, which means not deny all. So there's a key. What's the key? What's the annotation? So the annotation is could be either rows allowed or what's the other annotation? Who can remember that? Permit all. Okay, yes, permit all. So you will likely use either one of this annotation or the order resource in order to secure all 4 of these functions. Okay. What's another requirement in the CA2? So your pagination, your API versioning already here. You can leave it there. Hetios, yes. So Hetios, hypermedia as a state. So hypermedia state means you insert links in your endpoint returns, so that your Android app knows that, oh, this endpoint return allows me to do certain action. Where is the best place to do this kind of endpoint returns among all these methods here? Pagination it gives you the next and previous, right? So assuming that you don't want to do that, what's another place you can implement Helios in? Grab food. When you scroll through a list of food, the first view is a list. Then when you tap on an individual item, well, we always have this term called call to action or CTA. The CTA means something like a button, actionable thing you can do in the screen. So in order to get the user to a specific goal, so the goal of GrabFood is to get you to order something. Okay, the steps of ordering is add something to your cart and check out. So this add to cart and checkout are 2 main CTAs. So where does the add to cart appear? When you look at an individual food item. Normally you see, okay, maybe I'm looking at soybean milk, okay, or bean curd. Then there'll be an add to cart or add to my order button. So that's a CTA. Now, if you look at every CTA as a possible link in a hypermedia state, which means in the JSON we return the food detail, you also return a link to say if the Android app user were to click on this link, it actually adds this item into their order. So what I'm saying is, when I get foods by ID, so it may give me the name of the food, right? Standard. It may give me the price the food. But you will also have likely another picture. Okay, so picture and the CTA or the button that the Android app your user will see to get them to add it to the order. This might be a link. And the link will have an action, which is, first of all, what's the method? What's a post? So what I'm trying to do is to tell the Android app that this particular food JSON allows the user to add this thing to the order. So href could be order followed by so body would be I'm missing one more thing, ID. So maybe the body is provided by my Android app ID. Okay, so what am I creating here? So in my food detail JSON, I have the regular things information that will end up being displayed on my app, but I will also have this thing called link, which tells me in order to add this thing, this rice item into your, let's say your cart. These are the things you need to do. You need to first post to this URL order via using this body. Hmm? So this is the just parameter. So depending what you want to send in the body, could it be a JSON that looks like this, an object with an ID. The ID happens to be the ID of the food item. Another example would be if I don't take care of the body, I just do a direct post like this. It means I'm using a path parameter for the post. So when you call post order followed by the ID here, I will effectively create some sort of a cart, an order with the first item. With first item food ID 1201. So the next food item that we have a different ID, this value will change. So this will be example of Hetios. Another example of Hetios that you can actually insert will be when you do a get order. So a get order will tell you a few things. What are the items that you've ordered, right? So items, an array, and each item array has the ID that I asked for, has the quantity, but it also has a couple of links. Just like when you go to the shopping cart of any website or e-commerce shop, every item you have a few options. One is to reduce the change of quantity, the other is to remove it from your cart. So let's say I want to have the remove. So I can reuse the same structure here, paste in here. So for every item in my order, I can, instead of add to order, is to remove from order. Method will be to delete, then the ID. So in this case, okay. So I'm not thinking very far ahead, just writing as I talk. Another possible method link here could be to either increase or reduce the quantity. So let's say increase quantity. This may be to do an update. Post. Can the URL order ID. Okay, yes. The spotter quite quickly. Okay, so order ID. So this is the tricky part. So when I first add an item to the order, I first need to create an order first, then I add an item. Traditionally, right? So think about it. I create order, then add item. Okay. So that means when I do a post, so when I do this post order, first time, I should return me order ID. Correct, right? First time when we post. So maybe in the parameter here, I can have any first food ID I want to send over. It will always give me back an order ID. Okay, first time. The second time I add in more items, if I post another food ID, you still give me the same order ID or the existing order ID I have. The idea is the order ID will stay with you. Okay. So when I do a put, this ID here refers to the order ID, correct? And in the put, I may be updating the items, right? So what are the items that will be updating, right? So I send back the same object to do this. When I do a get, it returns me this entire order object with the different items inside. So here you can actually make it a bit more useful. Like for example, you want to know the total amount. Okay, what's the total amount of item? Individually, they may have a price because your UI will tend to display it right somewhere. Total amount or text, etc. All kind of stuff. So the order object you can append to this object any other components to this. It doesn't. It all depends on what you're going to show on the screen. So for each item you have a remove, you may have an increase. So here let me change this. So let's say my order ID is 2001. So I retrieve the order ID, which is this 2001. Okay. Example will be here. And delete. I'll say delete from 2001 item 101. And I want to increase the order quantity of a specific item here. Maybe I'll say order followed by the order ID item or items. Items ID 1001 is to increase by one quantity. So that could be a possible method. At the end of the whole thing, I want to let the user check out. Final CTA checkout. So in the order object return, there'll be one final link which is to do checkout. So checkout will essentially tell the kitchen to start preparing your order. So when I do checkout, okay, so there are a few ways to get around this, right? Now traditionally what we might want to do is to do an update. You can do a put and then set the status. Okay, so that's one way. So if you do a put is to change anything you want in the object. If you use Helios, it gets a little bit different because if you say I want to do a put in here, and then based on the order 2001, what about my body? What's the body, right? The idea of Helios is to give back to the Android or the client application the required body or data to send over for every single action, be it in the parameter, the URL, or the body. Now if I do this, if I based on that rule, or that principle, right, what will happen is my body here will practically be like a sort of repeat of this whole thing here. Not very efficient though, right? Okay. So in order to shortcut, because if you do include an entire schema, you will have more work trying to construct this link here. So an alternative to this is when you go by the principle that I'm not updating order, so I will use a put method. Why am I updating? I'm not going to update when I check out. I do not update the quantity or the items in the order. I'm updating the status. So we'll change it to status, right? So to say put status, but status what? So introducing maybe the last part is to confirm. So this confirm actually is like a parameter. Status is just to tell me that after status, it's expected to be a path parameter. Tell me, is this a confirm or the person has given up on order? So this is my order object. So going on to delete, okay, so delete. The person decides to give out an entire order, you can delete by the entire order ID, right? Or you could have deleted from here the individual item, remove the item from the order. So this is sort of the ideal structure of how the order will look like for get. Okay, this is quite a monster to create, frankly. Yeah, because create this. First of all, you have the different items, and of course, individual links. You have to create those links inside in the items, and then find a link outside for the main order item. Okay, so I'm not saying that you must achieve the ideal, but this is kind of a nice picture to have. Okay, it's okay if you don't have this, because somewhere here you need to have a put. You can achieve the same result, the same result by having this put method from your Android app, craft the object, set the status to confirm, and send it to your endpoint. So you still achieve it by doing this versus doing this. This one will require you to have an endpoint that has under order resource, order ID, the status, and the status path parameter. So when you do this particular method, you need to create one more endpoint for this. But the good news is that if you do a lot of the small endpoints, you may not actually need this major big endpoint to do the entire proof. Okay, will there be implications to scoring your CA2 between this method and any small methods like this? No, there is no implication, because in general, as long as I see a put method to do a replacement updating of something, you satisfy one requirement to have a update request. Okay. So if you do let's say this one, right, which is all the order get order, you have a remove from order, increase. Okay, this one smaller, the more straightforward, because your parameter is in the path, you don't even have body. As this one, you need to have the entire body just to replace everything. So maybe doing this one method for put might be simpler than the entire put here. Database also simpler, less parameters to replace. This put method just updates the status, one view in the database. At least not as many as that. Okay, so these are the things to do. I hope we can finish all this by today. Okay, if not, there is a video recording of the screen, so we can continue. Okay. So this is roughly our minimal viable product, okay, to create. So let's start with the first order of business, which is user resource and then for a user store. Okay, so user resource, does it exist in our current project? At the moment, no. So resources, you have category and photo. So photo right now, don't touch it yet. You can leave it there. It's harmless. Likely not to use it. So to start creating a resource for your users, just like the category and the photo, create a new class. We call it user or users. Since everything here is singular, then I keep the user. Okay. So the user resource, it will have a path user, and then you will have some methods. So the methods based on my notepad, right? There will be one for hosting users, which is add user registration. The other is authentication. So the first method to create is to allow registration of users. So maybe just quite create, right? For now, I will probably expecting in the method a parameter to send in a user model. Okay. So let me write to dos, right? Send user model into user store. Create, okay. Return user ID. Simple enough. So at the end, you'll be response to OK. Good. So somewhere here in the OK, I can return the user ID either in simple plain text or JSON body. Between this part when this method is called, right? Oh, how this method be handling? Which method? It will be handling the post method. Does it have a parameter? Yes. Here. So yet at this moment I have not created a parameter, but I can reuse the user model that I have from the models package. And so I have this, and I need to call the user store. So my user store, does it have the method to create a user? Maybe not. So take note, as long as you type, we might have all this underscore line that tell you that you haven't imported something. Make sure you import the correct namespace, Java XWSRS, not something else. Some of the annotations tend to give you other different classes. Okay. So this is return. So what we're missing here is a user store. There should be a create user store. So let's go to user store. So in user store, what are the methods we have available? You have our user by username and password, one method only, nothing else. So let's create the second method. Put on the top, easier to read. So the next method we're going to create is to allow us to enter create user. So I just put create user model, right? So here is it will create a user but return the ID of the user. So I just put user integer user ID 0 first. Ultimately, it should return this. And similar to the other method, first thing is to get a connection. Get it from data access. So data access is the function that returns a connection every time you need to use it. And in Java, you always need to make sure you encapsulate your actual database operation in a try and catch. Now, when you're doing a try and catch, in order to catch specific error here will be an SQL exception. Okay, if you were to try to catch other exceptions, very likely nothing will happen if something goes wrong. Let's see, SQL exception. Okay, so here, right now it says it's never thrown. Oh, of course. Okay, so if you look at exception system.out.println the message. Okay. So within the body here, what we need to do is to create a prepared statement to insert into user table. So since we're doing an insertion of data, so best to use a prepared statement rather than construct SQL string. So prepared statement is the object to use. So connection.prepare statement. So prepare statement is a function from connection that needs a SQL statement from you. So the SQL statement will insert into the user table because you're doing insertion. So insert into. So insert into it comes together. Table users. Okay, followed by the columns you want to insert, and then values, followed by the values you want to insert. Okay, so what are we going to insert? At this point, you might want to refer to your database schema for users table to see what you actually have. Okay. So if I launch my MySQL Workbench and try to make this as small as possible. Okay, so go to my schemas under MenuAPI, make sure that it's double. So when you notice it's bold in MySQL means it's selected, that database is in use right now. Use means any SQL statement you execute here will execute into this database, right? So look for your user table, expand it, and look for columns. So in the moment, our user table is very simple: username, password, and created date. anything else. So let's say we don't want to change it, and when you insert the user, you only care about username and password. Created date, you will enter it from here. So I will pull into this. Make sure you key in the name base, same name as what you have in the database. Anything that's different, deviated, will not be created. This is created date. Yeah. So username, password, created date, followed by values. So we are going to insert 3 different values into the SQL statement. Now the question mark means parameters. So those are means the last one about databases. Prepared statement allows you to substitute question marks or the values when keying with question marks. And therefore later you can actually say I want to set specific question mark at the index with a certain value. So the set methods come from the prepared statement object. Now if you type statement.set, you will notice that the IDE will give you a list of possible methods that you can use. So you have to know what type of set method are you using. Or to be a rule of thumb is what you're inserting based on the type, that should be the set method. For example, if it's string, then it will be set string. If it's an integer, int, it will be set int. So look at the 3 values we have: username, password, and created date. 3 values: string, followed by created date in the database is the date time. Okay, so the first 2 are quite straightforward. When it comes to the last one, I'll need to give you a bit of changes how that works. When you do set string, you will expect 2 parameters. The first parameter is the parameter index. Parameter index in prepared statements always start from 1, not 0. Okay, so against certain things that you might use tend to start from 0, this time it starts from 1. So set string 1 for username, 2 for the password. So as you type in, our user model already have these attributes, you can reuse it. Now the last one, set date. So I had problems with students the last round when we do set date. One of the problems we had was when we set date, not the time didn't go in, but the date went in. Okay. So here's a tip. Do you know in MySQL when you have a date time, you can either use a set date or set string. Okay. Now because MySQL, if you do create an insert into the user table, what happens, right? So let's see. Do I have an insert user table here? No. Okay. So just for the fun of it. Okay, so I'm going to show you an insert into user table, then I'll get the output from there. So let's say I want to insert into users. Now you know that created date is a date time, but in databases you either see strings, or numbers. So the only way date is passed in is actually through a string. So let's say I want to right now, create insert something into user table. So test user 1 p1. So create a date time. If you follow this specific international format, ISO format, which is year dash followed by month, 2-digit, or 2-character dash followed by day, in space, hour, minute, second. So right now 7 is 19, 17, 00. Yeah. So if you do this standard format and run a statement, why is it still complaining? So yes. Wait. Insert into users. Right, something there, right? This the other code, Oh, users also, right? Because Workbench is a bit strict on syntax. Technically, you work. So column names and table names have the other standard code. Yeah. So syntactically looks correct. Okay, let me run this. So notice I run it successfully, no errors. For date time, you put a string in this format. So now I'm going to select all from users and see what I get. Can I see the data? So this is the row that I created for test user 1, and the date time here is a conjugate string. Okay, so what does it mean when we implement the insetting date time or set string or inserting date time values into database from Java? There are two ways of doing this. One is you can use a set string. Then you make sure you create a ISO format of date to set it, or you can use set date, which I think there are some interesting examples of how that is done. Okay, so I'm not sure if I have the previous example of the interesting way it was done. The last time I did this, I was searching on the internet for many ways of setting dates in MySQL from Java. Let's see. Probably not here then. Okay. Let's try set string. I need the date to be in a particular format. So I'm not going to use the user model date time because I want to use the system application date time that is more true. So let's see. So in order to do that, I need to have a date object. Typically, okay, so when I do a format date, so SQL Java provides you a date object which I need to import date. I don't know why. So when you import date, you give you two options. One is a Java SQL version, one Java util version. Now I'm not exactly sure which is the best version to use, but tend to be a case that if you are going to put date time, you would, and your object is formatted in using date, then you should all be using java.sql. Otherwise, it's okay to use date, util date. You need to make sure when you extract the data out, you need to do some conversion. Okay, so if I say date, I want to have the same format as this, right? Or rather, this kind of format. If I don't have this kind of format, I missed out the hours, I'll just get the date. So I want to have that format, it will have some examples like toString, convert this date object to a string on the form, like that. Okay, so toString will give me these versions, right? Normally toString also, can I have, okay, still not like C# when I can have a toString and can set the different versions. Right, yep. So notice that when I look at the toDate functions, I'll try the date functions in Java. Java. When you do the Java classes, do you try anything with date conversion? Date to string, string to date? No. Okay. Okay, this is the kind of thing that even as a programmer, I don't remember all the time. Then in C# is easier because I'll say to string then followed by the date format. In Java, it's a bit, let's see, to string to string gives me this funny DOWMONDD, or day of week, and then date. Okay, weird. GMT also gives me something very weird, not year first. Okay. Okay, the one I saw, to locale string. And all this also horribly wrong. So how, UTC? UTC determines the date time based on the arguments. Okay, so this is the complication of date, right? Sometimes you get certain method tell you if you split the year, you can get the epoch, the time second since 1970, 1st of January, and then a lot of stuff. Okay. Huh? Sorry? Not string. Okay, so I'm going to just write out. Yeah. Frankly, as a programmer, I do ask Google a lot of times. Like this kind of small things, I just want to get a nice ISO 8601 format. Yes, this is also close. Yeah. Simple date format. This is a crazy thing I need to do. Okay, simple date format. Okay, simple date format was the class I can do conversion to dates. Okay. So if I read a documentation here, I can go to sleep already. Okay, so these are the patterns. So patterns are very useful, especially when converting to different types. They give you patterns to represent, so give you some flexibility to get out what you need. So these are the data and patterns. The one we want to look at closely is this. This is the pattern that we're trying to achieve. So how do you use this? Time format equals to this. I need to get a time zone. Okay, fine. Ridiculously, I copy and paste. Okay, so let's see. I don't need a Z. Take it out. I don't need a T. I just need a space. So I have a time zone. Set the UTC format. Create the date as ISO. Copy into here. Okay. Yep. I realized as a programmer, I spend about 30% of my time searching out, copying, pasting stuff, and then editing it. So as you do this, time zone, please don't use the com.sun, Java util. Otherwise, it might get some interesting errors I cannot even explain. Java text. 4 lines just to give me a date. ISO. Okay. Quoted tag. No need that. So far, this is a prepared statement to insert username, password, and your system created date time into the user table. What is next lacking is to return the user ID of this user that we just been inserted. So what is also missing that we haven't actually have the line to execute the statement, right? So you have all these things to set string, get, and you need to execute the statement. So if you type stmt as an execute, and important to note because you're going to do an insert, so you shouldn't be executing a query. You should be executing literally just execute. Okay. So execute, a lot of executes, huh? Execute string SQL if you want to throw in a string batch, large batch, but you're not doing that. So we're going to use the most simple execute here. Let's see. I want to get back the ID. So conveniently, let's see. Execute update. Execute the statement. Okay, so returns either one, the row count, or two for statements that return nothing, zero. Okay, so execute update returns a number. Most of them return a number will tell you how many rows affected. It doesn't give you the ID yet. How many is the stop procedure? Yes, DB. I mean answer, not the answer. How do you do most things? Stop procedures. Stop procedure can have like a function, put in parameters, return object, and string, things like that. ID, right? Well, there is this thing called last inserted ID. Okay. So in order to insert something and returns a value back, typically it's two statements. That's why you use store procedure. Then it can be wrapped around in what you call a transaction. That means the two things happen either either successfully or nothing happens at all. Okay, so the objective is after I execute, I want to also return the ID. That means the ID of the user. Now, if you were to try to execute and then create another prepared statement to say select from users uh, order by ID last max order by ID in descending order, then you choose the first one. You will tend to be wrong if you have many users registering at the same time. So you need to keep the insert and the return identity as a single statement. Now, in some languages like C Sharp, what they will do is they will actually in the SQL statement, they actually have one more statement behind. It's used to do like this: select identity. Okay, some SQL statements system let you do that. So as you insert, the select will return you the last generated ID. For MySQL, I'm not too sure yet. So let me find out. Okay, how to get the last thing? Okay. Statement execute. Statement return generated keys. Oh, okay. So instead of saying execute only, I would say execute update. Okay. But they had something else there. So the example they had was a query. But mine is a prepared statement. Oh, so I create a prepared statement with this. Okay. So let's see. So I'm going to do execute update. But in the prepared statement, when I create the prepared statement with the SQL, at the end of it, I can put in another, let's see, parameter. Okay, so what is happening here is in the prepared statement, I have two parameters. First is the SQL. Second is this auto-generated keys. Now, statement.return generated keys is a constant. So this tells the prepared statement that when you insert, I want to return back the generated keys. How will the keys be returned? Result set. Okay. So as for anything that returns data from the database, it is always called a result set. And let's see, execute update. Integer. Oh no, number. Sorry. Execute update gives me a number. Okay. Okay, what's the other function? Is it to get generated keys? Okay. So there are two things happening here. First, execute update returns me affected rows. Affected rows, if it gives me inserting into users, 0 means something happened. So in order to give me an ID here, I need to make sure that my affected rows is equal to 1. And then I can call the second method, which is to get generated keys, returns me a result set. And still not the end. Result sets, I need to check, I think, result sets next. That means there is data. And I can finally set the user ID to result at integer. Column index, what? I think so. Hey, shall I continue? So go back to result, user resource. So user resource is supposed to send the user model into the create method to return me ID. Let's say user ID is equal to user store. So somewhere here I want to have a user store instance of this user store object. I will create, pass in the user object, return me the ID. In the response OK, maybe I'll just simply return the ID as a number index. So this is as simple as it gets. So now I have a, essentially what do I have? So I have a post users, that's done, right? And I have a create user in the user store. So let's test this out. Let's test this out. So take a look. Have you all managed to publish? Catching out typing. Wait for sample code and video. Okay. Postman. Postman, let me add in the next endpoint. Okay, so on your computers, when you go to Postman, it doesn't necessarily need to be the name of your laptop. It can put localhost. It's universal. Okay, so users, right? And you're going to do a post, and the body will be. I feel like they may be missing something. So, username, user134, password, my pass. Okay, will it work? Huh? Try. Okay, try. You're very generous. And oh, because I put 3,000 round pot. Oh, okay, this is my other project. Okay, Era, what happened? So what do you think happened? Debug. Debug mode. Okay, so many things that can happen, right? Console doesn't show me stuff. Okay, so let's go by the proper route to finding out what's happening here, right? So where are your logs? Last switch will have a log. But what do you think happened? Is it because I missed out attribute inside user model? Like this? Or something in the SQL that will happen? Okay, never mind, let's take a look at logs. So if you're not looking for logs in your Glassfish server, like this, something happened and then you know what the message says? Not found, right? Oh, sorry. Oh, not found. Okay, that's because my resource is called user. Okay, so I ask you a trick question. Is it capital U or small u when I call? Or doesn't matter? Doesn't matter. Try Does it matter? Still same thing. Missing my context. I didn't put my context right, so I don't know what is it calling. I'm gonna try if small u what happened. So so URL is case sensitive. Domain name is not. URL is. Anything after the domain, this part here is case sensitive. Some servers that are nice, it's not case sensitive. Most web servers are not, but actually it is. Okay. Let me reduce to small u, because small letter because everything's small letter. So, but just now when I did call the method, what happened? Right? Like I wanted to enter this user, and I got 0 back. No, why is that 0? Something's wrong, right? So 0 is a user store. This happened. Yeah, nothing happened here, right? No connection. Debug and find out. So it's done debug. Meantime, if something did happen, let's see if the logs in the server tell us. So the logs in the server, the logs can be found in the server under monitoring data. Why did you jump here? Monitoring data, and then you will see a few type of logs. Oh, after my gosh, we restart. Let's see. My table. Okay, so let's look at the table. So the data that I inserted just now went in. I didn't get the ID back. Okay, so do you know why I didn't get the ID back? Yeah. Yes, I don't have ID. Okay, so going back to our user table design, right? Only 3 columns: username, password, creator date. However, there's no user ID. Yeah. So generate ID will not work, and this user ID wouldn't have a value because I'm using the username itself as a string, as a unique thing. Let's alter the table. So our username is already a primary key, not auto-generated. Okay, so if you have an ID with a running number, then the generated keys will work because you need to wait for a database to give you something. In this case, because our username is already a primary key, you are already providing a key. There's no need to get back a generated key. Okay. Yeah. So let's modify this. This will be useful for the orders. The orders will have a unique ID from the database. So let's change a bit of the logic here. So should I still want to return the user ID, username, since I'm going to give it a username? Should confirm is successful. So you need a feedback tell you successful or not. So maybe just a boolean, true or false. Okay. Let's see. Forgot. Java needs to write this time. Okay. Success. So how do you tell if it's successful? Okay, execute update will give me the number of rows. If it's 1, that means 1 row affected, or rather, because I assume it's true, sorry, if it's 0, no rows affected, I'll set this as false. The sign is well is with success to false. So right now create is a return a boolean. Make sure I update my resource method. So instead of giving me the user ID, it just tells me success true or false, and then pass it back in response. Okay, so let's publish. So let's try to key in one more user. We change this to small u because I modified that before. Oh, I have a breakpoint here. Okay, maybe this time I'll let it go. Let me take away the breakpoint. True, successful. Check my database, my table, refresh it. Yep, it's there. What if I try to insert the same user again? Same username, right? Because it's a unique. True or false? Oh, it still says true. But no new rows. Okay, so I need it to tell me it is false. Let's try that again. I want to find out what's the value when I do this. Okay, so I'm going to insert. So I'm trying to insert a username that already exists, like user12345. Set a breakpoint. I want to make sure that if I try to insert a user that exists, it will tell me that it's not working. So here, execute update. So likely what happened? Oh, exception, right? Duplicate entry for key primary. So very simple. In order to update my program code, so yes, when I face an exception, when an exception is generated in the catch exception, set its success to false. So you know that it was not successful. So this is the last part to add for this user here. Okay, so now we have our user, create user. Now we move on to authenticate user. So we need one more resource method under users with a path called auth. So I go back to user under resource, create a response, authenticate. So to authenticate a user in this authentication, if I'm very lazy, I can still continue to use a user model because I got a password, username and password sent in, and I do a post. However, because I don't conflict with this post here, the path for this particular method would be okay. So user slash auth, pass in username password as a JSON object. You should go to the database and check is it a valid username password and then return something. So depending on your strategy or how you want to do the future authentication, is it a key or such, then here is where you want to make some changes to the idea. So if you're going to use a key authentication, then you should return it at this point. If you don't use a key and you still want to create some kind of easy authentication, then the authorization method may not be that useful since you're going to be doing it all the time. So that's assuming we're going to do the key approach from somewhere we're going to return a key that's valid. Okay. First, we need the user store to have a method to check if this user is valid. So let's say I go to store. Now, is there a function already existing? So previously, you wrote a function that says get user by username and password, right? So if I were to reuse the same function here, the method, and try to find a user in the database that matches this username and password. So it returns me a user model. Find user. So I find user. Now if find user is not equal to null, then the object, right? So I should want to return something to tell the user that this authentication was successful. Is valid. So if it is not equal null, that means there's a user. The set valid is true, and I might return is valid here. So this is a simple authentication method. Let's say my way of authenticating is through a set of tokens, not JWT, not basic authentication, but just a set of tokens. So let's say like your method, right? You want to create tokens and store on a table with expiry and such. So we're going to do a very simple token example. So in a very simple token example, what would I have in my table? Very lazy there. So I'm going to create a table under my MenuAPI called tokens, or maybe of tokens. So authentication tokens will consist of an ID, auto increment. Okay. So every token will need to have something quite standardized. So token value, or the token string, whichever you want to call it, be added. You might want to track it for some reasons, and expires at. So expires at would basically determine when this token will expire. Let's see, I have this timestamp this here, time not now. Okay, why is it complaining? Okay, no, no, let's see. Okay, that works. Right, so let's take a look at my table. Oh, it really exists. Let's refresh this. For some reason I can't see it. Okay, I believe it's there, although I can't see my database. Okay, so you manage to copy the SQL script to create the token table. Okay. Okay, so explanation. ID, okay, you don't need to explain that. Auto incrementing number. Token value is a value that you will generate in your application. Added tells you when it was added in. This time we're using a timestamp default now, so the database will add this date added value. Expires at will be determined by your application. So expires at will contain a date time when this token expires. So you may have a policy that a token only lasts about a day, 1 hour, few hours, up to you. So when you insert a token into this table, you need to calculate the expired at, so that whenever a request comes in and you go through the authentication filter, you hit the token, you will check against the database. Number one, does it exist? Number two, has it expired? So if it does not exist and it has expired, you kick the user out with a 403 or 401. If you have 403, 401, not authorized. And then after that, you probably will not, you prompt the user to re-log in again. Okay, so these are some of the ways to handle this. So now going back to the Eclipse program, since I have a table for tokens, right? So here I can make a decision on, should I create a store for tokens, or should I just keep that function of reading and checking tokens inside the user store? You could do it either, since it's something to do with the users and you probably may not use it anywhere else. You can probably create the methods to create and check tokens in the user store Java class. So in the user store Java class, what I'm going to do is to create a method called create token. So the method create token will give me likely a token model. So let me start properly. Okay, so in my models, I will create one thing called a token model. And the token model is something that I will return back to the Android app. It will contain two important information, or rather, let's see, I need two important information. So one is the token value. Next is expiry, date or time of expiry. Okay, let me see, let me something out. Okay, so token value expires at. So in my user store, I will create one more method, which is to create token. So it will return a token model once created. So create token doesn't need any parameters. You just create one and then return it back. So here will be my token model says null first, return the token. And in between here will be where I need to get connection, create the token. So connection equals to data test.connection. My regular try and catch. Here will be, so to create a token, I will need to generate a token value that doesn't exist. So got a lot of requirements. New token. So assuming I need to create some new token. And also I need to define when it will expire. So when will it expire? If I take the current date time. So let's see. Great. I hate the operations in Java. So here, let's see. Maybe I want to expire 1 day later, right? But still, nevertheless, I need to notify the date object to give me a 1 day later or at 1 day kind of a logic. So, okay. So we're typing that. Let me look for, so Java date at 1 day. Seriously. Yeah, actually the using the expression, right? Add date. They add yeah, because looking at the Java code just to add one day so it take to two. Current date convert to calendar, set time, then you manipulate this. Fine. Right. Okay, so in Java, how does Java do this? You need to create a calendar, set the time, then you add the, I want to add a calendar day, right? Date. So confusing one. Okay, then eventually format. You get time. Why get time? Okay. So current date, new date, create calendar, expire 1 day later, for instance. Set the time or set time. Why is it set time? It's a date. Set time using a current date. Okay. Then from there you calendar add date by 1 date near means actually day. Okay. After that you get time. Interesting. So when you do a get time, it should then return you our expires at. Okay. So this is just the first part. I haven't started the new token yet. So new tokens. So taking borrowing from another language called C#, there is this thing called system GUID, which every time you generate GUID is virtually impossible. It's repeated. So in Java's case, so looking for GUID. UUID generator. Generating unique IDs. Okay. 128-bit long character value that is unique for all practical purposes. So in C# we call it a GUID, globally unique identifier. In Java they will call it universally unique identifier. Globally universally. Okay, so we're trying to be bigger. So what is it? It's a UID is made out of 4 or hash characters. Okay, which adds up to the equal length of 36 characters. So the idea is that when the system generates this UUID or GUID, every time you get one value from it, it's supposedly unique. So there shouldn't be a time where you get a same GUID or UID from Java or C#. Main idea. Okay, so it comes in a string form, which is exactly how we want to store our token value. Okay, good thing we put 255. It's 128 character long. Okay, so how do you get this? 100. No, actually not. Normal characters 36 character. Yeah, not enough. So now how do I go do this? UUID random UID. What? Versions. Generate UUID. Just to generate UID, you have this thing. Random UUID. Okay, so random UID is a key. So UUID dot random UUID, and it gives me okay. Can I toString? Let's see. So UUID dot random UID toString should Okay. Then start my prepared statement again. Okay, so we want to insert, right? So use a prepared statement. Prepare the statement, insert into of tokens. Is it of tokens? Yep. Of tokens. I want to insert the token value as well as the expires at, right? Expires at. I don't believe I can't see it here. So stmt dot set string position one is the new token. T dot set position 2 will be the date, and for the date I will just which class file import? Oh no class file import here. Oh, okay, so for the date expires at, we're gonna recopy the time formatting function here. You can either copy this or you can create a utility function of that thing. So I'll create a utility function for format date time. Okay, so yeah. So let me refactor this function because I use it twice at least. And date. So let me pull this. So I got format date time, throw in the expired at. Yeah. So I created a function called format date time because I did it twice. It's the same code anyway. Time zone format the thing, return a string to store the expires at. And then after this, I do execute. Okay, so if it's successful, I will return the token. So if execute successful, then I will the token model will return a new token model. Token value will be equal to new token. Okay. So if the token creation was successful, I mean execute was true, then I'll create a new token model, assign the token value and assign expires at. Because eventually I will return this back to the client or the Android app, then they can use it for the subsequent call to the endpoint. In this case, in this situation, we'll be using this token so-called to authenticate subsequent requests. So when do we return this created token? We return it when we do the authenticate user. So authenticate user, besides checking if the user is valid or not, if it's valid, then you will create token and return it back to the Android app. So when we do that, will be in the user Java. So inside user Java, so here if it's valid, right? So if it's valid, so here I would have a token model. Okay, set the null first. I think we import this token model. So if the user by username password is returns me a valid object not null, what I will do is to set okay, continue set is really true first, because I'll use the value later. Then token, I was get it from store.create token. So now that I got a token, right? So if this is valid, I will return the response with the token. Else, I return. So if the username and password is not valid, I will basically say forbidden, right? Let's see. Status. So here will be forbidden or yep. So if the user is valid, I will return token. Otherwise, I will throw back a response status called forbidden. You need me to flash back to the previous? Yes, token model. Go to token model Java. Two very simple. So under user store, yes, it's a method formatted time. Restart. Click restart debug. The restart debug. Cannot. Break code. The breakpoint. Okay, okay. So you're calling this one post. This is post. Okay. 420 back request. Don't send in the body. You duplicate the endpoint. You can duplicate. Hmm? Oh, sorry. Because when it's here, that means here should track already. But never come here. It's stuck there. You take away the breakpoint here. Yeah. So is it here or you got two eclipse? You got two eclipse running? Oh, okay, no, different one.
I
Different one.
refer to
Okay, different.
every day like not start from last night lah. Then I did because I need to trace every day like that. If I don't trace this can run. But I need to trace.
Oh, oh, you don't start in debug mode. It don't happen. No.
Can go the table. Haven't before. I also cannot find this one. Then after that I hand that I cannot solve, I cannot do anything.
Like that. It's hang on.
After that then this one loading so long time. Then I close, I restart computer, I open, stay like that.
Oh, when you go to the debug,
Then go.
this one also don't show you anything.
Here show, but this one not working. Oh,
Not working,
disable.
right? Cannot use.
Cannot use.
Okay, like that.
So troublesome. I cannot trace anything. I cannot find it.
I've never seen before.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find out what's the possible reason. Okay, Google.
Now I go to
See other user have other developers have same problem.
Then this one and take so long, then never finish.
Oh, still not finished.
Never
Stopping.
finish because at home I open let them run. Then after 2 hours take. So just now I error. Okay, never mind. Then I close it. Go. After that you see I close then come out.
So you try closing Eclipse and then start again, so no.
No.
Okay.
I got this error.
Okay.
Come method. Okay, then I call post method and sometimes internet server. Sometimes rule affected.
The same method can work, you cannot.
Same method mean?
You call posts
Sometimes.
sometimes.
Post sometimes internet server error. And sometimes rule affected. So here now
Okay. Maybe I continue further like find whether see where my create token. Okay, so test. So now since the user resource has a authentication method, we can test it. Let me try to restart my SQL. Sure. Okay, so synchronize. See, create another Postman tab. So now I'll try to do a authentication. So body will be application JSON. So let's just send something that doesn't exist and see what I get. Forbidden. Okay, fair enough. Forbidden. Let's look for so forbidden. So a few things happen. Make sure that no tokens are created if it's a forbidden. Okay, that's true. So now let me use an actual user. Okay, so I have an actual user here. User and password. So now I change this to user. Password. So this is an actual user in my database. Send and I get I get okay. I get okay, but I don't get anything else. Okay, so never mind. Let me check the author tokens. Yeah, there's a token here. It will expire tomorrow. Okay, so this works, except that my return authentication should give me a token object. But it didn't. So valid response okay token. is this guy. Find user, not equal now. True. Okay. It definitely came here because else it will give me a forbidden. No data. Okay. Because I didn't do this, because it produces an application JSON object. Number one. And if I do that, I have to do this too. Generate token. Oh, how do I do that? Generic entity. Pass it. So new generic entity. Pass a token in here. That looks wrong. Missing curly brace. Okay. So let me make sure that I write my object return in a generic entity. Then I do this. Okay, so now I will try to give me the user again. Ah! Entity must not be now. Oh, it was now, that's why. Why is it now when I have tokens? That's because create token probably didn't return the token. Hmm? Here, right? Well, but definitely no SQL exception because the data is here. Execute. Boolean. Yeah, I'm going to use the execute return. True is the first result as a result set. False is an update count. Or there's no result. There's no result set. It should be this. Yep. Rather than execute. So execute update give me 1 for row count. So my row count should be 1 because I inserted a new row. So I shouldn't use the execute true false. Publish. Okay, so no. What's this? I got a internal server error. Okay. Hmm. Row count for yeah. So I'm doing so the row count. The row count for so returns the row count for SQL data manipulation language or SQL statements that return nothing. Hmm. Do I need another token? Sorry, I don't get. Which one? New token. This one. Together, because returning two values, the expiry at and that's it. Trace through the code and see what happens here. So database for sure not a problem, but it still complain about error when you return the value. Okay, so this is fine. So find out about the token part. Okay, so create token. So this was working. Okay, so something else is wrong. Let's see. Okay, so now its valid is true. Token value, that's correct. Response okay. Then error. Okay, this is weird. This one has an error. Why does this have an error? Oh wait. Okay. I think I recall. Every time I have a object like this, that's returned to the front, it must have a constructor. Okay, it's just Java. Okay, why does it need a constructor? Because I pass into generate entity, it will do a so-called instance of the object in there. So it needs a default constructor. Control this. It. Yes, no, no. Still not. If it doesn't care, just throw it inside here. Okay. Still not. Okay. Still throws it back in the face. Right. Why does it need to do all those things? Yeah, two constructors. So I'm guessing that it needs the default constructor and also like this else is missing? Hmm? Response. And the T. Oh, yeah, correct. Not okay, but in the T. Is that out? This should work now, right? Wait. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Should work now. Okay, no, no. Still 500 error. The whole line copy over there easy. Yeah, this is what happens all the time. Okay, let's see. Return. Okay, and the T, new J and the T. This is the type. The type is here. Then I pass my object here into here. The same thing, right? The same thing, right? Maybe not because of this. Okay, that's why I need to look at the log here. Yes, Java is a little bit difficult to trace. You still cannot connect. You change the version. Log files. Okay, so right, log level, severe. No, yeah, message body not found. Okay. So what is the actual message? Message body writer not found for media type at JSON. You know what's wrong? It's not called JSON application JSON. Here we have our token. Okay, so now your Android app can finally take this token and call your endpoint which are authenticated by token. Okay, so this is just one part because now you have a token. How do you authenticate the token, right? Okay, so you will get this token. Yes. And generate the token. Yeah. It's in the base, yes. See, the database has the token here. So every time. Okay, so where do we check the token? So remember our basic authentication Java, right? The middleman, the filter. So this is the place where you will check the token. So depending on how your Android app will send the token over in the header, what key value you want to use. You can also use the authorization. You may use that basic, you don't use basic. So up to you to implement. Hmm? Yes, it's still in database. Yeah, so see, these are the tokens that saved. Yes. So every time the user log in, you will check username password, then you will, if valid, then you create token and return back to the app. So in order to check the token is now in the app, you need to design in terms of how are you going to send the token over. Are you going to use, so you use a header, which key you want to use. So you can reuse authorization like this case. Whether or not you want to have a basic, then followed by a token value, you can also do that. Or you don't have a basic, it also can. So this one is very flexible. There's no standard way of saying, oh, must have a basic in front or barrel in front. Especially you're having your own standard. So in this case, this token is your own standard. So maybe you can give away the basic one. So user ID token. If you're checking user ID password, that means you use a single one to cater for two different type of authentication.
So then the initial login, I use username and password, and I get the token. If it's a token, I get user ID and token, and verify whether it's authenticate, whether it's correct.
So to do that, right? Okay, so imagine your request. Right, maybe you post order, right? Okay. So your header will be authorization. So if you're doing basic authentication, it will be like basic something like that, right? And then let's say you're doing the token authentication. Instead of this value, you change it. Instead of basic, so the scheme, right, is a way to tell the system what type of authentication you're using.
Oh, okay.
Token, then followed by your super long GUID thing. So if we detect, oh, I see a token, and I take the value and do a token checking. If I see a basic, then I take the value and then dehash it and decrypt and then do a username password checking.
So schema then mean you can check.
Yes, correct. So the schema will have you have a switch case like if the schema is this value, do something else. The schema that value do something else. So at the very basic level, you can have the logic inside here for two schemas, which is not too bad. But let's say if you have more and more different type of ways of authenticating, then the way you will structure this program would be to have different classes to handle it instead of everything in one class. If you only have two, I think it's quite straightforward. You just put them all together here, just simplify things. So this scheme here can be very dynamic, right? So let's say I decide not to do with combine all the code here. I say just do a new Java class example. As well as basic authentication, I create a new class, which is about 80% the same as this class, called token authentication, right? Java. So I'm gonna say it's almost the same as the basic authentication because I will just literally copy everything over here and change the class name. So what is the same or different? So first of all, scheme I'll change to token. So I'm gonna just stick with one called token. Why is it 80% the same? Because the part where I get the resource method, whether is it a deny all or permit all, is all the same until the point when I get this. So in the basic authentication, I will grab from the authorization header the encoded username and password. In token authentication, I will not get the encoded username and password. I'll get the token from here. So this is how I'm gonna sort things out. So the moment I grab from the token authorization header, got the token word the scheme in front, the remaining value is a token. Here I will compare the token to the DB. So let me comment on this part of the line. So compare. So when I get a token out, I need to compare token with DB if valid. Valid means exists and not expired. Two conditions. So will I be using a user store? Yes. So in the user store, I will need one method to check if token is valid. So go to user store. So create another method. Is token valid? So this will basically take the token, which is a string extracted from the authorization header, do a check with the database and also compare with the expire set. Okay, so there will be an eventual result, true or false, which I will return. So I assume is false, and then if it's true, it will be modified. Same thing, I need a connection. Okay, so when doing a token implementation where you store in a database, so this is one of the drawbacks of using this method, is that every time a request is sent over to your server, you need to go to the database to check the validity of the token. So the one drawback about this method is you always constantly go into the database to check. And for the token database table, it will increasingly get larger and larger over time as more and more users log in. So that will also increase over time the time taken to find a token, compare an SQL, and return the result. So in some other implementation, usually they will avoid storing tokens in the database because of this very simple reason of using it to check all the time. Unless you have a very optimized table purely for checking tokens, or we have in-system memory to do it, which will be a lot faster than the database. So in the connection, standard, try catch. Eventually, this system.out.println would be best replaced by a logging function. So the logging function is something that will log the messages to a file, physical file on the server, that you can actually review. So here I got a token, and I'm gonna use a prepared statement again, because especially we're gonna receive input from outside outside the application. So the SQL query for checking if the token is valid will be select star from of tokens, where first of all, does the token exist? So token value must be equals to this, and expires at. So for the expire it's very easy. You don't need to compare with the input value. You compare with the current date time. Expire is equals to, let's say, less than. Let me have an expire rate less than now. I think so. Now, is it now? Select sanity check. Okay. So now, so I only have one parameter token value to set. STMT, then I set the string to the token value that pass into the method. Okay. So here I will do, so because I'm going to return rows, right? So I'm going to ask for stmt.execute query to return me a result set. So as long as it returns me one row, or at least the result set has data. So if result set has a next is valid, to be equal to true. So this is how you check your token if it's valid or not. So this method is valid. You'll be in the token authentication, the part where I say compare with database. So I say if store is token valid, pass in the token. Okay, so if it's not valid, so we do the reverse, right? Because if it's valid, you would let it run through the program. But you want to check if it's not valid, then you throw it out with authentication credential not valid. So it's valid, I put an exclamation and say not valid, negate the result. If it's not valid, it will throw out with the unauthorized status code. So this part is done. Now I want to switch to using the token authentication. So instead of register basic authentication, change it to register token authentication. So make sure you register token authentication in the menu API application Java. You use this class to authenticate the request. Okay. So let's try with our category. Okay, so go to here. I'm gonna copy this token out. Go to my category. To get category use will be basic authentication user, right? So now I'm gonna pull with no auth. Okay, so no auth here basically. So when you choose a different authentication standard templates here, so they are like a template that give you a form to fill in. Since you're doing a custom one, all you need to do is to go to headers. In the key, fill in with authentication. Here, your scheme is token followed by the value. So this will be how you insert your own authentication header for this purpose. Okay, so yeah, token value. Yeah, this is the token value returned. So if all is well, let me check the server. Is it running? Okay, need to publish again. Okay, so I'm gonna call category Java. What that used to be a permit all, right? So if permit all means it must have a token or some kind of authentication in the header, then you will run. So if this is successful, it should give me a positive response. Okay. Now if there is no token here, should it? No. Okay, so this shouldn't happen. Get one category. Sorry, am I getting one category or get all? Oh, get all. Sorry, get all, get all. Let me copy this over. This one, take away this one, no off. Okay. Okay. Uh, Not valid. So why is it not valid? Okay. Authentication. So how do you debug this kind of situation? One of the simplest way is to go to SQL statement, copy the SQL statement. If you're not very sure whether the problem is an SQL or what, okay, replace the token value, put it in here, okay, and then run the statement. Nothing. So that's why I failed. Okay, expires. Should be more than, yeah, something. Okay. Sometimes you got logical errors like this. So when you have SQL errors, especially when you have a statement that has criteria, just copy the statement on the SQL branch and change. Greater. Sorry. Yes, greater. That means it haven't happened yet, right? So this is how you might debug some of the logical errors. So it's okay if it doesn't happen. Just need to copy the statement over there, the SQL branch, and test the statement also. So once I'm done, let me restart this. Publish the server. And run this thing. There. Take it out. No negation. Add some nonsense. Not bad. Okay, so our test cases have passed. Now your application is token authenticated. Okay, so what have we done? So we created the authentication endpoint, right? Next to do will be get food by ID, and then the orders. Okay. We still got 45 minutes. 40 minutes. Okay. Okay. Wait. Token authentication is which one? Oh, okay. Very, very, very long file. Okay. Okay. So renaming of the class, that's one thing. User model can take away because we don't use that. Scheme change the token. Second thing. The third thing is the part where it says get you encoded username password. All that is replaced by this. All that part is replaced by this right here. Oh, okay. Shall I start on the foot? Shall I start on the foot or finish up food resource and order next tomorrow? Hmm? Okay. With the video. Okay, so you want to stop now? Then tomorrow we'll complete the food and order resource. Okay. All for stopping now. Okay. I'll upload the sample code build up now this version into Polymorph, then the video recording as well.